that's not a problem. Hey, it's Bill. Bear with me for a moment while I try and figure out why my camera decided to stop working great when I went live. There it is. This is episode number 744 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. We just heard from the Borstal Boys with a horn section and a little bit of hip hop thrown in. That was Walking Away. And we also heard from Inco Fido and their song Problematic. We're coming at you on musicfrom412.com, buildthescene.com, xrpradio.co.uk, megarockradio.net, and 107.1 KFGD out of St. Louis, Missouri, rootaroo.radio.com out of Texas and the beaches of San Diego, California. And I feel like I'm forgetting something, somewhere, somebody. And if you're used to being on the show, you understand that that is a weekly thing. With me tonight is my guest from the Cynimatics, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. Okay, you're up.
Hey, my name is Anthony Sarnelli. I sing and write songs for the ska band from Pittsburgh called Cynimatics. Glad to be here.
And you're also in Fubar?
Yes, correct. Play tenor sax for Fubar since 2019. That's the band I'm usually playing around regionally touring with.
And so you probably don't even know this. At why can't I think of the name of it? It was the show you did after Jake had passed away in Irwin.
October. Yeah.
I was at that show.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out in the back with Steve Hawk, actually.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, no, that, so Sam, the bass player of Fubar, who also is in Cynimatics with me, we're the two primary songwriters of that band, have been basically since we created it. He put on that benefit largely himself, and it was a great event, and I think it did pretty well. And yeah, I'm glad you guys were there, and I'm glad Steve was there. Just, friends all around.
I was actually taking photos around the corner, at oh man, I can't think of the name of it, but it doesn't matter. I was there, and I was like, and it ended, and I was like, oh, Fubar is like 5 minutes from here, so I went.
Nice. That's awesome.
I think. Sorry, my brain is not cooperating all that well tonight, so
all good.
Please bear with me.
Yeah.
It comes along with all this extra gray I have now. So tell me a little bit about the Cynimatics, because I'll be honest, I'm not familiar, and I tried to look you up today, and I didn't find much.
Yeah, so Cynimatics was basically the band I was in for a long time before I joined Fubar. When I was in college, my freshman year of college in 2013, my band that I was in during high school, which was a ska band, broke up because we were all graduating high school and then going to different colleges in different states and stuff like that. And so I was in high school. Long story short, I was in a ska band called the Trabahabas. We were from Pittsburgh, and we opened for other ska bands like Suicide Machines, Big D and the Kids Table, Ballyhoo, I think, one time. And we just played local shows. We would hop on Drusky shows to open for bands that were similar to us. We only lasted about like 3 years or so. But I played saxophone in that band. And then my friend Sam, who went to high school with me, also played saxophone in that band. And me and him have been best friends growing up since we were little kids. And we wanted to make our own project after that band had broken up. So we started Cynimatics. Cynimatics was a very different kind of band than Trabahabas, because not only were we not playing saxophone in the band, but we were the singers. I started learning how to play guitar and sing, and so did he. And we created our own band with our own music, where we wrote the music, and it was like more pop punk influenced. Our old band was not. So we grew up in like the mid 2000s whenever that stuff was really popular, and we were into that, whereas like the rest of our old band weren't. So that's kind of how that band came to be. And that was, yeah, 2013. I was a freshman in college, And from 2013 to 2016, that band just played as many shows as we could. A lot of VFW shows, a lot of shows with other pop punk bands. We went through a lot of lineup changes. We kind of had like a revolving door of like musicians besides us two, and it was fun. I mean, it was my own music and my own singing, and like I wrote a lot of music in college just because of like my personal life and problems and stuff like that. And Sam had a recording studio and was able to record most of it himself. So pretty much every Cynimatics recording was done by him. And we released a lot of stuff and just tried to play as much as we can, made friends, and we opened for some national bands too. Um, the story gets a little bit more complicated from there, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
Um, so I've told this story on the air before, and I'm gonna leave some names out like I should have done every time I've told the story. But I went to see my first ska band at a fairly well-known venue in Pittsburgh, and I
Hmm.
left there thinking I didn't like ska. And it turns
Sounds
out
about right.
what I didn't like was the sound system where I saw the ska band.
Aha. Okay.
um, actually, I've grown to really like horns, um, and that's probably a good thing because my son now plays a bunch of them. Um,
Hmm.
he plays the sax, or not the sax, the trumpet, the trombone, euphonium, French horn. But
That's awesome.
he, and then my daughters are clarinet and a flautist, so I have
Nice.
a mini band in the house.
Yeah.
Which I was telling you about off the air. It takes up a lot of time. They play in the
Yeah.
pep band, and then Aiden plays for the Mon Valley Junior Stage Band, and we don't live near the Mon Valley.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
But
I was in band in high school as well. So was Sam. We kind of were together all the time, so we were always talking about music and stuff.
so what we're gonna do? Let me check my time. We have a little bit of time. Okay, so I wrote this down when we were off there so I wouldn't forget it. Truancy, Anti Poetry, and Other Stories
Hmm.
was released in May, if I found that
Correct.
information. Okay.
Yep.
And we're going to listen to Impatient and Inverse off of that album. And I'm going to give you a second to tell me about, you pick one of the songs and you do like a storytellers. Tell me something about the song.
Okay, I'll start. Yeah. So Inverse is the first song on the album, and it's probably my favorite song on the album. It was written so the band stopped playing shows in 2020 because everything shut down, and basically I would personally like to like play again maybe, but a lot of our members like went on to different things, so we haven't really been able to, and I've been so busy with Fubar too. So we just kind of left it at like we stopped in 2020, but me and Sam still record stuff. So that's kind of where we're at now. Because truthfully, how it started was just us, the two of us, writing music together and recording it together, and it kind of just turned into a band because there were other ska bands that needed opening for. So yeah, but inverse during COVID, I had a little bit of downtime and I taught myself how to use like GarageBand and Logic and stuff like that. And Sam was off doing his own thing a lot of the time, so he wasn't really readily able to record me anymore. And so I listened to a lot of types of music. I was on, for whatever reason, a really big like pop country kick. I was listening to a lot of like Kenny Chesney and Sam Hunt and like any cheesy thing you could think of. And there was a Sam Hunt song I think that came out in the 2020s, maybe a little bit before that, that had this strange chord progression that I thought was really catchy. And so I essentially just copied it and wrote a ska song in the same vein. And obviously changed some things around, but that's kind of how that song came to be. And it came from an unlikely place for sure, but I'm really proud of it. And I played saxophone on the song, even though our band typically didn't have horn players live or anything. Sam would usually record all the horns for cinematic songs because he's actually a lot better at saxophone than me. I'll just say that. But for the time being, I wanted to, and I was able to. We recorded with Paul, who plays guitar for the band Punchline, and he egged me on. He's like, "Yeah, record horns for it."
So Paul, as a very young 14-year-old worked for me at Kennywood. I was his manager.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Paul is a very good friend of mine over the years. Yeah, great person.
And
Mentor to me, pretty much.
I used to get him out of work early so he could go to his shows. Don't tell my bosses. Yeah, just go. Okay, so we're going to take our first break, and we are going to hear Impatient and Inverse, and we will be right back. What's up, everyone? It's Bill with your weekly update on what Drusky Entertainment is giving away tickets to for Music from 412. On November 7th, we have 2 tickets for Samantha Fish, Rough Records with Canned Heat, Bernard Allison, Mitch Ryder, Gallia Volt at Carnegie of Homestead Music Hall. November 10th, gave away tickets to this last week. It's Nelson with Xander Damos, Post Traumatic at Jurgles. Tonight, on the Pennsylvania Rock Show, I'll be giving away 2 tickets to Yngwie Malmsteen at the Oaks Theater. That is November 15th. We still have a chance for you to win tickets to Exodus with Havoc, Candied, and Dead Heat at Preserving on November 23rd. November 30th is Justin Fabus and the Borstal Boys at the Craft House Stage and Grill. 2 tickets to the Almond Betts Family Revival at the Palace Theater are up for December 3rd. December 28th, your chance at House Rockers Holiday Extravaganza featuring Joe Grishecki and the House Rockers, and a reunion of the Iron City House Rockers at the Craft House. And now it is time for me to give away those 2 tickets to Yngwie Malmsteen. That show is on November 15th, 7 p.m. at the Oaks Theater. Drusky Entertainment presents, It is all ages. Tickets are $39.75 to $79.75. And I had 9 people sign up on my form. So Music from 412 and Drusky Entertainment have Nikki Praza, Tom Trainer, Keith Laydig, Scott Bombach, Tina Laydig, Lily Six, Andrew Carr, Haley Williams, and Shannon Johnson Ray in our queue. I'm going to add those names. I don't know, at least say 2 more times. And then I'm going to hit shuffle 2 times. And we're going to spin and find out who is winning those 2 tickets to the show, Yngwie Malmsteen at the Oaks Theater. And the winner is Nikki Praza. So, Nikki, keep an eye on your email, and you'll be receiving an email a little bit later today from me, and then a follow-up email from Drusky Entertainment with information on how to pick up those tickets. Everybody else, make sure you go to musicfrom412.com/contest for your chance to win 2 tickets to select Drusky Entertainment shows. And we're going to head back to Pennsylvania Rock Show and our previously scheduled interview.
Do you love searching for unique treasures and thrifting one-of-a-kind finds? Are you looking for great deals on instruments and other music gear? Do you love supporting local businesses and artisans? If this sounds like your scene, you won't want to miss the Rock and Roll Flea Market. Come out Saturday, October 26th, to explore a wide variety of merch, from instruments and equipment, to vinyl records, to antiques, to electronics, and more. Browse our booths while supporting local businesses, such as The Vault, The Church, Vinyl Palooza, Del Vecchio's, Dusty Attic, and of course, Music from the 412. Come for the shopping, stay for the food and show. Catch live performances by Brian Genovese, Steve Hawk, and Voodoo Rattle. Plus, we'll be giving away free tickets to upcoming Drusky Entertainment shows to a few lucky winners. The Rock and Roll Flea Market is only here for one Saturday. Don't miss it. Visit us online for more info.
Hey, it's Bill. We are back. We're heading into segment number 2 of episode number 744 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. We just heard Impatient and Inverse from the Cynimatics. And if you were with us, 8 minutes ago. You got to hear a little explanation of the song in verse. I haven't asked you any of my off the wall questions yet.
Okay, I'm ready.
So I'm constantly trying to think of new ones, especially because I have people to come on multiple times, but it's been a while for you. So there's a chance that you haven't answered the pizza question.
Okay.
And that is, what is the best pizza you've had because you're a musician? And you have to link it somehow to being a musician. Were you at a gig? Were you on your way to one? Were you on your way home? Were you recording something along those lines?
Actually, so that this is a very recent occurrence that I can kind of spin this and relate this to. So, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, Fubar was recording drums for our new record, in Murraysville, and there was Slice of New York on 22 in Murraysville, and I'd never had it before, but Dave, Fubar's singer, was like, "You gotta try it, it's really good." And, it was awesome, and I would say that's up there, and this was before the Barstool thing. This is right before, so I guess maybe it was a little bit longer than 2 or 3 weeks ago, but yeah.
I have not had that yet either, but I think I'm headed there eventually.
Yeah, it was good.
If you're not familiar with Slice in New York or Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, he says, "You know the rules: 1 bite," and then he takes like 8 bites. But being someone who also creates, you make your own rules.
Yeah.
I think what did they get, a 7.2?
I forget. It might have been in the 8s, to be honest, because I remember it being a big deal, and I was like, yeah, I just had that like before this even happened. Yeah.
Almost positive it's 0.2, and then his friend also got the same score.
Yeah, it's good. I like that place.
So if you were leaving a gig and there was a DeLorean sitting outside with its door up in the air and a flux capacitor in the back, where are you going in time, and what band are you going to hang out with? Because I don't know if you remember in Back to the Future, but he ended up on stage with Chuck Berry's cousin.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're not ready for it, but the kids will love it. Hang out with or see, because very two different things maybe.
Either way.
Okay, I would definitely try to go back in time to the early 90s, maybe circa 92, to see Sublime play in Long Beach at one of the crazy escapades they had kind of in that era before they were super big. Not that they ever really got super big while Bradley was alive, but still, that's probably where my brain goes.
Cool. Now, you're going to hold on to that DeLorean. You might want it later. So you can sit down to dinner with any 4 people in the history of the world. One of them has to be a musician. What 4 people do you want to sit down with, and just a quick reason for them?
Number one, Jim Morrison, for sure, because if that guy was anything like any of the recollections of what him say he's like, then that would just be really interesting to even hear him talk and like look around, probably with sunglasses on or whatever have you. I'm a big 60s rock fan. Doors are one of my favorite bands. That would probably be one. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I feel like most of the people that are like, famous from history that I'm interested in are musicians. Um, you know, um, I would like it would be cool to talk to uh Bruce Springsteen, especially whenever he was younger, like maybe before he was super big, like in the 70s, whenever he was doing all that really crazy poetry stuff.
See, I told
Big
you
fan of
might
that.
need a DeLorean.
Yeah, yeah, big fan of that early 70s stuff too. I just love like all eras of music and kind of observe like, why they were the way that they were and stuff like that. Um, Let me think. Who else? Two more people. Um, I'll just say Bradley Noel from Sublime, just because he was such an eccentric person, and he seemed like he was a good person too, regardless of all the crazy stuff that happened around him and being kicked off Warp Tour and just being kind of a maniac, I guess. Um, and last but not least, um, I'll do deep cut here. So one of my favorite bands of all time is the ska band Catch 22, and a lot of people that are super into ska, um, they like the Thomas Kalnoky stuff from Catch 22, the guy who sings for Streetlight Manifesto because he left Catch 22 and formed Streetlight Manifesto. But I like the stuff that that band did after he left, whenever Ryan Eldred was the singer for that band. So I would say Ryan Eldred.
Um, so you can go anywhere in the world and play any venue. It doesn't have to be a traditional venue. You could just pull up somewhere, set up and play. And you can pick a band to play with you. Where are you going to set up, and what other band are you going to have with you?
Okay, can I use the time machine?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to when Club Laga existed, and I'm going to play with Punchline whenever they were in their rewind EP/action era of the band, because that is some of my favorite music of all time, and kind of taught me, kind of brought me up and taught me how to kind of be in a band and whatnot. That's definitely what I identify with the very most. And actually, when Punchline did their anniversary show in 2017, I got to see them play that stuff with all the original four people that were on it, even though that isn't what the lineup of the band is now, and that was really cool. So I would say that. I never got to go to Laga. I was too young.
I never went to Laga either. Mostly because I really wasn't into that stuff then. um, so Punchline was on probably the coolest named independent label ever, Fueled by Ramen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to mention it because I can remember that. I can't tell you what I ate for lunch today, but I remember that they were on a
Yeah.
label called Fueled by the Ramen. Let's see how we doing time wise. Let's actually take our second break. We're gonna hear from Fubar, your other band, State of Mind, which I believe is the title of the album it came off of.
Correct. Yep. In 2022.
And we're also going to hear from Sneaky Heat Missiles and their song Poker with Joe. And we'll be right back. Hey, it's Bill. We are on episode number 744. With me is Anthony from Fubar, who we just heard from, as well as the Cynimatics. So, can you remember when you realized that you had to be in a band? What clicked?
It had to have been when I was really young. So I used to listen to music in the car a lot with my dad, and my dad used to play drums whenever he was in high school. They would do Black Sabbath covers, Creedence Clearwater Revival, that kind of stuff in the 70s. he never did it super seriously or anything, but I knew he could play instruments. And just when I would listen to music in the car, even though I couldn't play an instrument yet, I would just envision myself playing the music just because I thought that would be fun. And I started playing saxophone in school band when I was in fourth grade. And I had already been listening to ska music just from hearing it like on Tony Hawk games and stuff. And so I was like, this is what I'm going to play. This is the instrument I play, and this is the music I like to hear. So it just kind of went from there. By the time I was 14, I was like playing with drummers and in bands and stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember the name of the first band you were in?
Yep. It was awful. I was in seventh grade, and the name of the band was Slippery When Wet, the Bon Jovi album. And
I owned that album.
It's a great album. I'm not a huge Bon Jovi fan, but that album's great. I don't know why I named it that, but it was me and my friend Sam, who's in Cynimatics with me, and we covered the song "All My Best Friends Are Metalheads" by Less Than Jake, and we could barely play it. And that was the first band I was ever in.
What I always hate to ask this question, but it popped in my head, so I apologize ahead of time. What do you think was the best show that you've played? Like maybe it was crowd or just a cool venue.
That is a hard one, but I definitely think it wasn't with Cynimatics. Cynimatics played some cool shows, but with Fubar, we've been gaining some momentum and playing out of state and stuff. And last year, we played a festival. We played early at the festival. We played like 1:30 in the afternoon, but we played a festival in Baltimore, Maryland called Reggae Rise Up, and the headliner of the festival was Damian Marley, Bob Marley's son, and overall attendance for that was like almost 16,000 people. And there was quite a bit of people there even early when we played. It was amazing, and and we were billed on that show not as a local band, and they treated us great, and it was just an amazing experience.
How do you get on a show like that?
For that one, the friends of ours had played it the year prior from the Maryland area, and I think through them, the company who ran the festival's owner reached out to us via email, and that's kind of how we situated it. But mutual friends, that's how it goes down.
It's how a lot of stuff goes down. How about something funny or embarrassing that's happened on stage?
Oh, I got a really good one for this, and it's horrible. It's so embarrassing, but long story kind of. But so in 2013, which was the first year Cynimatics was a band, and we were playing like at the Smiling Moose in Pittsburgh and like VFW halls opening for like pop punk bands and like wherever we could find a show. We had this song that wasn't really a ska song because, like I said, this band has done like pop punkish stuff too because that's just like what everybody our age did. And we wrote a song, Sam and I wrote a song that was like it was a meaningless song. The lyrics didn't mean anything, but we purposefully tried to write it to make it kind of sound like a Simple Plan or Sum 41 song because we thought that like Canadian pop punk had this like weird, distinct sheen to it that was different than like American pop punk. And so we called the song "Go Home Canada, You're Drunk," and we played it at a show opening for a band called Poor Young Things, which were like a rock band that played the Smiling Moose that needed openers. And I wasn't drunk or anything, I don't think, but I said like this song is called "Go Home Canada, You're Drunk," and it's about Canada because I fucking hate Canada. Excuse me. But the band we were opening for was from Canada, and I didn't know that.
Oh.
And we had to share our drum kit with them, and I'm pretty sure they broke it whenever they played. But anyway, didn't get along with them. Sorry for the cuss word, but yeah, that was easily the most embarrassing thing ever at a show that we've done.
Whoops. When you played Smiling Moose, upstairs or downstairs or both?
Upstairs.
Upstairs.
Always upstairs. Yep.
I've been there once. Nothing against the Smiling Moose, but I could not find a parking spot, so I don't
Yeah.
know that I want to go there again. Because I spent like an hour driving around Southside trying to find somewhere to park.
Yeah, it's tough. That was usually the spot for us because it was small enough. Like we would only be able to, at very max, like bring like 100 people to a show. Like the Club Cafe or Smiling Moose is like where we would do it at usually. Um, but funny story about Smiling Moose is like around 2015, 16, 17 ish. Um, most of our band members and myself and like our girlfriends and stuff were all basically like newly 21 years old. So we would rent out the Smiling Moose for the late slot. The show would start at 11 p.m. and end at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. And it would be a lot cheaper to rent, so we would make money. And everybody would come out. It would be awesome. And it would be so late. I couldn't imagine doing that right now. A show that starts at like 10 p.m. at night. I couldn't get anybody to come. But like back then we could.
When I first started, I don't even want. So what I did that turned into what we're doing now, build the scene. I started that in like 1996. So, and that's when all those shows were like that. You start at 10 and you were out till 2 a.m. And I'm with you. I can't do that.
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't try to convince my friends. I mean, before it was so easy. Like, you coming out tonight? Yeah, they were all there.
But, what's a local band that, or unsigned band? Local. I hate saying local because some people see that as not a good thing. An unsigned band that you've seen live that just blew you away.
There's a lot. I love local music. I love a lot of our friends' bands from like other areas that we hook up with all the time that are like around the same size as like what Foo Bar is and stuff, and just grinding it out. Blew me. They're not so local anymore, but they're unsigned. They're called the Quasi Kings, and they're from Columbus, Ohio, and they're a reggae rock band like Foo Bar. Amazing. One of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life, easily.
See, now sometimes I ask questions. I haven't asked that one before, and now I'm trying to think who. Oh, I know. They're not together anymore, but they were called completely Leonard Skinner, Alice in Chains, Tarach and Sky. They took their name from Pantera.
Okay.
Alice in Chains and Leonard Skinner, Tarach and Sky. Jake Parks, who is getting back out into the scene, was the guitarist and backing vocals in that band. If you have not heard of them, you should look them up. It's kind of hard rock, but also kind of sounds like Southern rock, and it's just like their name, Pantera, Alice in Chains, and Leonard Skinner. If you could imagine what those three bands sound like together, that's what they sound like.
I'm definitely checking it out for sure.
They have a song called Daisy Dukes. And
nice.
Six String. Wow, I can't remember it, but it's a good one too. Another one, Muddy Waters, named after the blues guy. Oh, there's a question I can ask you. Okay, so you are standing at the crossroads that Robert Johnson once stood at. I'll give you, that might be a little old reference for you. Robert Johnson was a blues guitarist who was, the story is he was terrible. He used to show up at other people's shows and go up on stage when they were taking a break, and they would kick him out. And he disappeared for a year, came back, was a phenomenal guitarist. And the legend is he sold his soul to the devil at a crossroads. So if you're at that crossroads, what are you doing there?
What would I sell my soul for?
Yeah.
Does it have to relate to music?
No.
I would, if I had like the ability to sell my soul to like have something happen to me, it would to never get sick. It's so annoying to me, and I always think about it, especially whenever like we don't tour full time, so like I'm planning it 3 weeks in advance. I'm like, we got a show this weekend, like, and I'm like feeling it. I'm like, oh, like, you know what I mean? It's an unavoidable, but like, that's just something I always think about. Like, if I had a superpower, if I had this, like, I would just like not want to ever get sick. I would be totally content with that. Like, that would be great, right?
I have a student that comes in about once a week and tells me what the new superpower is that he wants. So let me look time wise. I think we're pretty close to the time that I wanted to stick to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and stop here for the evening. I want to thank you for hanging out with me on
Yeah,
episode 744. Those of you that were in the chat rooms and watching us live, thanks for hanging out with us. If you're just finding us, you can find us at buildascene.com. Newly revamped last night. It's a lot faster. Go there. There are 5 different podcasts. Yes, 5 different podcasts on there. A lot of stuff about the local music scene. It's actually a combination of buildascene.com and akmusicscene.com, which is what I started way back in 2004, which is another step from 1996 until now. But anyway, go check it out. There's content there from way back in 2004 all the way to now. There's venue lists. There's the beginning of a business directory because I accidentally deleted it last night, so I had to start over. But anyway, go to those websites. Go to facebook.com/Cynimatics, Cynimatics, for those of you that are only listening on the radio side. And I have 2 more songs for you this evening, and that is Dead End Streets, Romiette, and The Burn Rides, Ska City. And we will catch you next week.
Thanks again.